Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining. Yes. I got you here. You coming on? Hi, Keisha. How you doing? Thank you for joining. Stay on, Keisha. We got it. We're gonna have a good discussion tonight. So stay on. We gotta let people get in here.
Hello,
Thank you, darling.
everyone. We here.
Hey, we here.
I'm
All
in my
right.
car. I'm in my car, girl, but I'm here.
All right. That's all right. We
All
good.
right.
We good. Let's go. All right. We're gonna give everybody a few more minutes to come on in here. Everybody stay in. If you in, stay in because we're gonna have us a good old discussion about some
Oh, we got a
transparency
conversation
tonight.
tonight, honey.
Yeah, so
Stay
get
on.
ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Stay on. If you're on, stay on. I just want to welcome you and thank you for joining us tonight. Get on and stay on. All right. Oh, all right. Hey, Dawn. We got Dawn in here.
Hello, how are
All
you?
right. Good. Well, I just want to welcome everybody here to Transparent Tuesday, where we're going to get real transparent tonight, okay? And transparency is all about being able to make our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and our motives easily perceived to ourselves first, right? First to ourselves, then to the people around us, and then to the world, right? So we can be our best selves. You know, we need transparency so that we may have a maximum impact in every space we move. You don't want to be moving half willy-nilly, halfway.
Right.
You know, you want to move at your maximum capacity, maximum impact for ourselves, maximum impact for our families, and maximum impact for the culture. Right? We don't want to be out
Right.
here willy-nilly all over the place, right? Transparency allows our light to shine correctly and clearly into the world.
Yes.
So that's what we mean by transparency. Transparency, just again, being able to make our thoughts, to make our feelings, our emotions, and our motives easily perceived first to ourselves, because we got to get into that, to ourselves, because so often we're not even transparent with ourselves. We'll look ourselves in the mirror and look back and try to be a whole
Other
substitute, a whole
person.
fake,
Yeah.
right? We're not even authentic, coming true to ourselves. We're not even being 100% with ourselves. So it gets real sticky with and when we start dealing in the area of transparency. And tonight specifically, we want to talk about alignment, right? Alignment. And y'all know and whoever's out there don't know me yet, I'm a definition girl. Yeah, everybody who know me know I'm a definition girl. So I like to get it so we can be real clear. Alignment is to place. When you align something, you place it, you arrange it in a straight line, right? Or in our terms, like we're here tonight to give support to each other. When you align yourself, you give support to a person, an organization, a situation, a cause. That's what happens when you align yourself. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Those two ways of aligning ourselves. You know, you align yourself in a straight line with your purpose, with God, you know, spiritually, and then aligning yourself with good people, with your support system, and how we do that again with ourselves, how we do that with our families, our friends, our neighbors, and how we do it for the culture. Because that's what it's all about, really impact. That's what we're trying to do here, is make an impact.
Yes.
And not just be sitting here willy-nilly. We're not here for play. That's, you know, that's my thing. We're not here to play.
We're not here for
We're here for
play.
All right? So ladies, let's talk about it. Let's get into this.
You do know you have some men on the line too, right?
Oh, I know, gentlemen. Sorry.
Gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
So come on, ladies, come on. Daniel, let's break this down. Let's unpack alignment in when we talk about alignment and aligning ourselves, but being transparent as we're doing that.
I think a lot of times we don't even think about aligning. We don't even think about the need to align. We just walk around in the confusion of life, not realizing that alignment is very important in everything that we do. So first of all, aligning with yourself. You know what I mean? Understanding where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, what your truth is to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then alignment in your family, in your community, and every area of your life, there needs to be an alignment. And a lot of times we go into the darkness and the muddy waters and no clarity because we're not aligned with our purpose in every situation, in every area of our life. Nobody thinks about that. And how you being misaligned confuses your purpose and makes your life more difficult. You know what I mean? What role do you really play in the circles that you're in? In your family nucleus? Are you aligned? Are you doing what you're supposed to do as a person in your family? First of all, to yourself. I think that's one place that we have to start. Is everybody else directing your traffic and where you're supposed to be going? Are you not walking or flowing in your river because everybody else has a diversion for you?
That part.
That part. And I think that that's a very, very important thing. And when you align with self, then it's easy for you to align outside every other area of your life.
I think that's what we miss most, though. I think that we are quick to try to align with other people and outside things, but not necessarily with ourselves. And so we start off backwards because you can't align yourself in any community or situation if you haven't first gotten in touch with who you are and where you're supposed to be. And so we start off on the wrong foot, and then it goes from there.
Yeah, I think, and it goes back to identity, right? Because when our God-given identity is not reflected, right, in our work and the things that we're doing and every pursuit that we're out here into, you know, everything in every area of our lives. If our God-given identity is not present, if it's not reflected, then we're not aligned anywhere. We're not even aligned with ourselves.
Right.
And we're not reflecting our identity. You know, if that reflection is not out there, you know, that's where you think about when you come in a room, you always say, when you come in a room as yourself. But don't come in a room as anyone else.
But this is the
it's so
thing.
often, right?
Do we know our identity?
Now you trying to take us another. You trying to take us somewhere else tonight.
Listen, is our identity formed by those people who are around us? Those people who have labeled us who we're supposed to be in the family. You understand what I mean? Are you supposed to be the person that's cleaning up, you know, doing all the domestic chores, or is your voice something else?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to find your identity and align with that.
Right.
You know, and
I like what.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I like what KMA No Filter just put up.
That's Rafe. Hey, Rafe, how you doing, baby?
I can't see the comments. I don't know why, but I can't see them.
Self is the first place. He put self is the first place to start, because if you're not good, how can you be good for others? And see, again, that's that self-identity, aligning with self. And I think we were talking about this, you know, prior to coming on here. We were talking about this, not to divulge what we were talking, but we were talking about this, and we have to prioritize ourselves. They got our word priority again. You know, we have to prioritize ourselves and prioritize getting to know ourselves, being intentional on getting to know who we are, what we want, what we expect, and not just from others, but from ourselves.
Right.
But it's also about valuing who you are, because so often we don't value ourselves. And so we come to the table half full, expecting somebody else to fill us up. And so how can you align? How can you be yourself and be intentional if you don't even know what your worth is and what you come with? And so I think when we start talking about being who we are and being authentic, you have to first be able to accept and acknowledge who you are and what what your worth is.
We usually fall into that rut, though, Dawn, when we're people pleasing.
Which is exactly Rafe's next comment speaks to that. He says, I have learned to align myself first, because I've seen when I put others first, then my feelings get hurt. So lately I've been saying, put me first.
Exactly.
And that's the reality.
That's more Venus. Exactly. Thank you. More Venus.
Yes.
More Venus.
Venus more. That's my cousin. That's my cousin.
Yes.
Venus more is my cousin.
So we have a circle of cousins going tonight.
Yeah. So I can't see the comments, but Venus is my cousin. And so you it's kind of like, I know this sounds bad, but self-preservation. Getting to know what you like. For a long time, I didn't wear certain things because of other people's opinions.
Right.
But I liked them. And I found that when I wore what I liked, I felt better by myself. And when I walked into the room, you know, I felt good about going into that room.
Right.
So sometimes the parameters that people put on us and the pressures that people put on us because we're people pleasing make us uncomfortable in our own skin.
Oh, let me tell you this. So thinking about when you just bringing up clothing and a wardrobe, Dawn, we had this discussion a little earlier this week. As being women of clergy, right? We're here, all three of us. We're part of clergy, and we're talking about wearing. I'm like, and I remember, you know, I'm unpacking and I'm going. I'm like, well, I got all of these shorts. I'm like, you can see my legs out this summer. They're gonna be talking, you know. And I'm like, Dawn, what you think about that? She was like, we modern. We don't prescribe to that. We don't prescribe to. She's like, you got beautiful legs. We don't prescribe to a box to what we can and cannot wear. We don't prescribe to. We don't subscribe to that. And I'm like, and that's the goal. People pleasing. What are the expectations? What we're in a modern world. We live in a different time. And in these times, you know, if I'm comfortable and I know that, you know, I'm walking in my purpose.
Decency and order, right? Decency
and I know, right. Hello, I know I'm a whole married woman. You know, you understand what I'm saying? I know that as long as I am feeling I'm feeling convicted and I'm aligning myself with God, you know, and I'm aligning myself with my purpose and my calling, then I should be able to wear whatever I feel like wearing and whatever that is at that point. You know, to my taste. I'm not gonna subscribe to allowing somebody to put me in a box and say, oh, I only could wear something down to my ankles or up here or whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, for me, there's still order and so on and so forth. I'm not saying to go out here and I'm gonna be out here, you know,
and booty shorts,
everything hanging out, booty shorts, things out, everything out. But to a point, you know, I'm a modern woman. I'm a modern believer. I'm a modern woman, and I believe that, you know, I'm not gonna be put in a box.
Right, and that's
but I think,
go ahead.
I think so many times, especially as clergy, the expectation of who you're supposed to be. But how do we talk about reaching the masses? Because the masses are everywhere. They're in different settings. They wear different things. They appeal to. And so if we're really going to be about kingdom building, we have to be able to fit into all of those places and not be this prescription of what folks think we should look like. I want to be able to walk into any place and be my authentic self and hope that I can have a conversation and just be perceived as me, because I'm me first. I'm Dawn before I am clergy, before I am any of those things. And so I think if we get back to that, we would draw more people to recognizing that it's not about what other people think. It's about who you are, who you're comfortable as, and then your own relationship with God, and then you could go from there.
Right.
Hey, Rachel, I see you out there. Hello, Rachel. I'm trying to give love to everybody up here.
I'm sorry, give love to people because I can't see them. I love y'all. Love all of y'all. The thing about it is, if you faking the funk about who you are and what you went through and your identity and your alignment, there's somebody out there that needs to know that you are them, they are you, and there's possibility. You understand what I mean? Because we keep hiding ourselves and, you know, being in other people's alignment and other people's pressures bring on you, and there's somebody that needs the genuine you. We're back to that again.
There we go. We're back to
and
that.
your genuine experience. You know what I mean?
Because you think about it, right? We go back to, we talked about this a little earlier too. You go back to the commandments, the two great commandments. When they asked Jesus, what are the two great commandments? He said, first, love God. You know all of that. And the second commandment was love others, love your neighbors as you love yourself.
Right. Love yourself.
And we forget that self part is very important. The self part is more important than the neighbor part. We see the neighbor come first, so we tend to lean towards the neighbor portion of that commandment, and not the self. It says as the self. So you have to love yourself, and you have to know who you are, and you have to walk in the fullness of who you are, and know that before you can go out and love your neighbor and do for your neighbor and lean on your neighbor. It's all about looking within and starting here. And I think sometimes when we think of selves, we sometimes we add that ish to it. So we automatically think selfish, you know, and we don't necessarily add the less, the selfless, just because you're putting yourself and prioritizing yourself and aligning yourself with yourself and with your calling and with what you're supposed to be doing at this moment, you know, then we want to add the ish. That doesn't make you selfish. It still make you selfless, because you can't, if you're not at your maximum capacity, what can you do? What can I, if Kia's not at her maximum capacity, what can she possibly do for the kingdom?
Right.
What can she possibly bring to the table?
Right.
When it's time to come and break bread with Thania, when it's time to break bread with Dawn, what am I bringing if I'm not at my maximum capacity? If I'm not aligned with myself, if I'm not, you know, giving support to myself, if I'm not arranging and placing my needs spiritually, physically, emotionally, if I'm not placing those and prioritizing them, how am I coming off as me? How am I coming off as my best self? How am I walking in the room and saying, hey, here, Kia Brown is here and God sent me and I came to do what I came to do. I came to do what to do it.
Not the imposter,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Not the imposter.
imposter.
Not sending the imposter in the room. Because everybody could tell who the imposter is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Just be real. Just be you. And that's it. You know, and people appreciate that more when you're you. There's a lot of
and I like what
things. Yeah, there's a lot of things about us trying to get into alignment, and don't think that there's not a sabotage. See, people know how to sabotage you from going into your alignment. You know, the parameters that are some of the parameters that are put on us, God don't even put on us. Right.
I need to know where that's at in the Bible. Sometimes I have to ask, where's that at? Can you pull that up?
Right.
Pull that up for me.
Could you show me where that is?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
That part.
Thank you.
So we have any comments? Because I'm interested in the comments.
Right. Brave said, I like what he said too. Titles don't make you who you are, and we always say that.
Yeah.
You know? I'm a worshiper first. Let me tell you something. I'm a servant and I'm a worshiper first. That's who I am first and foremost, and always will be. Worshiper first. I'm a servant first of God. That's it. Everything else, I do what I got to do. I'm called to do what He told me to do, and that's it. I think a couple days ago, yesterday or the day before, I posted, you know, I'm not self-made. I'm God-made. Right.
Right.
But as I say, the world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away.
There's two, and there's so many areas of your life, like, you know, I'm a woman in ministry. When I come down off that pulpit from, you know, doing what I do, I'm a mother. You understand what I mean? I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a cousin. You know what I mean? I'm not always that person who's, you know, you got to know in each area who you are. Not that you denounce your faith, but you know how you need to be a mother to your children.
But I think stepping into every area of our lives is actually embracing your faith.
Right.
You understand? That's even stepping out on faith. That's showing how much faith you truly have, that you can move authentically in every area. We're called we have all the different ministries, right? We do different things in different areas. You know, we're mothers, we're partners, we're wives, we're entrepreneurs. You know, we have businesses outside, and we're not just all ministry. We're not just clergy. There's a part of me that, you know, we go out. We have a whole business that has nothing to do with, you know, specifically church. But everything I do for God. You know, I do for Him, for His glory, and I move for Him in my area of my life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to attach myself and set myself into a box.
Right. The untouchables. Like, we cry, we get mad, you know, things happen. We know how to, you know, negotiate those kind of things. Not untouchable. You cannot be untouchable because we're real people. You know what I mean? And aligning yourself and understanding that is very important.
Right.
It's important to know that. The prioritizing of yourself, again, we go back to prioritizing yourself and making sure that you're good inside of you. You know, it's bad to be schizophrenic inside of yourself. You know, that, you know, right. And people will bring you there. They want you to behave a certain way outside of what you are, who you are.
Or what's expected of you because you have a title. So somehow you're no longer a person. You're just this title.
Right.
We're people before we're titles. And so, you know, even the expectation that comes along with sometimes puts you in a box and takes away from your ability to be perfectly aligned, because of what people are looking for from you or expecting. You know, in perfect transparency, when we started this conversation an hour ago about what we were going to talk about tonight, the first thing I said was, I certainly don't feel like I'm in alignment tonight. Y'all picked the wrong topic. Because I am human. I have my good and bad days like everybody else, and not every day. Not to say that I'm not always mindful that I'm God's child, but I don't always feel like I'm in perfect harmony and peace. And so when you come to the table to have a discussion and you feel like you're not centered, how do you help to center somebody else? But also recognizing that part of the responsibility that comes with who I am now is to be able to show those moments as well. So I'm not in my best space today, but I'm transparent about it. And hopefully sometimes even through your struggles, somebody else learns something that helps them along the way.
Exactly. And this is the point, and one of the things that we raise. Alignment is a continuous process. You're going to find that you're aligned. Something happens in life and you feel like you're out of alignment. The thing is to bring yourself back into alignment. It's continuous process. It's never going to stop. But you have to continue to say, all right, I went off a little bit, I veered off. Let me get back to where I'm supposed to be. And that is always possible. It just takes the work. And it takes the real internal work. What brought me here to this place? Okay, I allowed this to happen. The processing of the feelings, you know, the reality of what happened, dealing with it, coming back into alignment. It doesn't stop. So you have an off time, you don't feel aligned, then that just means that there's work that needs to be done.
And I feel like that's no matter where you are in your walk, no matter where if you're new, if you haven't started your walk, if you've been in your walk, if you're mature in your walk, we're not perfect. So it's like surrendering. Surrendering is a continuous process, you know, your faith, that's a continuous process. Everything is a continuum, and we have to be intentional. We have to recognize that and acknowledge that, you know, and be real with ourselves and give ourselves grace. You know all about grace, Dawn. Come on now. We have to give ourselves grace and to understand that we are in a process, and no matter what, and no matter who we think we are, and no matter how far along we think we've gotten or we've come or we've arrived, or, you know, because the moment you really feel like you arrived, that's the moment he's going to knock you right back off. It's like,
right.
I don't know who told you that, because there's only one who has ever arrived. And, you know, he has ascended, and other than that, has no one else. You know what I'm saying? So it's a continuous process, and it's important to be transparent, especially with people, and especially with the world, and especially with the culture, because we're in a society where people are so judgmental, and people are quick to want to cancel you, and people want to quick to want to throw you away.
This is a
forget about you,
culture,
right? But my thing is, we're in a continuous process.
Absolutely.
And we're going to divert sometimes. You know, you're going to go, sometimes you got to be rerouted. You know, you ever been on your GPS and you got to reroute because there was a construction, there's a detour. You know, we get detoured, construction happens, we get halted, and we got to reroute.
Right.
We got to get up, we got to come back into alignment.
Exactly.
Do that detour, the detour around the construction brings us back in alignment.
Yeah. And I want to say this too, using that same analogy, using that same thing. It doesn't matter how far off course you get. If you still have gas, and that means if you're still breathing, you can still come back into alignment.
Yes. That's that.
No matter how far off you go, you can always get back on your path. And that's one thing that I want people to understand. Like, when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. Get up.
Amen.
Get up and get back into alignment. It's right there for you. You know, the way that we believe, there's a thin line between falling off and coming back. It's just that simple. It don't take a whole big process. Just start taking the steps, right? And you're right back on course again. That's simple. Don't give up. You have more comments. I see you reading something there.
Go ahead, Dawn.
So Venus said that she was volunteering at an elementary school, and she was supposed to start on Monday the 26th. And she received a call saying because of her culture and the way she presented herself, that the children I guess there was a concern how the children might perceive her and her quote unquote culture. And that goes to how society defines us, what they perceive of us or what we should be when we come to the table. Not even understanding that maybe because of, whatever, however they perceive her presentation, she might reach a child that they can't, because there's always a child that doesn't feel like that they fit in or they're part of the mainstream. We need to recognize that we come in all forms, all fashions, all sizes, all colors, all ages, all sexes, and all of those things. And we all have a purpose. And people need to be able to walk in their purpose and not be held back because of somebody else's perception. I'm sorry that happened to you, Venus, but know that God has something better for you.
Honey, it wasn't your room.
There you go.
It wasn't your room. And trust me when I tell you, in a little while, they'll realize exactly why you were in that room. The lesson wasn't really yours. The lesson was.
And there's a room. There is a room for you. And again, that speaks to your alignment.
Amen.
Keep it moving. Dust your feet
and
keep it pushing.
Exactly. And sometimes we may come out of alignment for a very long time. Sometimes we may come out and you may think you're never going to get realigned. But, sometimes you may think you on this scenic route or you on this detour. I'll compare. I remember when I went to college, down in Howard, right? And they was just opening up in the DMV. Anybody from the DMV say, throw your hand up if you go to the DMV. But down in that area when they were opening up the 95 in that area, when you're coming into Virginia or across Maryland, they was opening up. And when I tell you, I felt like they did that construction for about 50 years. No, it was at least 10 years. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was forever, it felt like. And it's like, sometimes that's how you feel. And we're detoured. And for years, you just doing, I remember my whole college, the whole time I went to Howard, it was this construction going on. And then one day I'm on a road trip with my husband and my kids, and I'm like, oh, they finally fixed this. It's finally open. There's no more construction. I felt like this construction was going on for decades and decades and decades. But that's how we can feel when we coming out of alignment. That's how we can feel sometimes, and we get in that place where we're not being effective in the things that we're doing. We're not being effective in our walk. We're not being effective in our own personal lives. We're not being effective in our relationships. We're not being effective in our work. We're not being effective in our ministries. But I think that's the times when we need to refocus, regroup. And y'all know my favorite word is tap in,
push into that,
and really push and press into that. Because it's in that detour that you don't want to miss the lesson. You don't want to miss what you were supposed to get out of that detour, because that detour was very important.
And sometimes that detour is your alignment. Let me explain.
Ooh.
So I actually had the same experience where I went up and I got a job at a school in a very a nice area, if you understand what I'm saying, with some, our other family members. And it was very nice. It was very prestigious. And one of the teachers there left the child outside. And it was like my third day on the job, and they blamed it on me. So I lost the job.
Oh, wow.
And I was crushed. And then I got another job working in a parochial school in Crown Heights, dealing with young Black children in a parochial school. And it showed me, that job opened for me the ability to sew uniforms for the kids, to teach them Spanish, right? And I learned from them, and they learned from me. You understand? Some of those young people I still know today, and they have children.
Right.
I learned so much. The Lord, that detour and that kick out and that rejection was God's alignment for me. So my children were able to go to the school because I worked there, and I didn't have to pay as much because I worked there. So they got a good education because somebody didn't accept me in another place. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes man's rejection is God's protection. Okay?
Yes, indeed.
And the
Sure.
detour is bringing you exactly where you need to be. So I just want to
Mm-hmm.
encourage Venus with that.
Amen.
And Venus, those children that are affected by your not being there, just continue to pray. God will somehow work it out that it will be what it's supposed to. Maybe there is a lesson in this process, even for those children, about the role you played and the things that you did for them, etc. So don't give up hope yet. God always has a way of working it out. Sometimes we're just not patient enough to wait for the end result.
And it's coming. It's coming soon. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
It is coming soon.
Definitely is coming soon.
Any other comments? I
I think
wish I
that.
could see them. I can't even see who's on.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think when we get into alignment, with me, I've been when I think of alignment, I think of effectiveness, right? I think of one. To me, it's almost like they go hand in hand. You know, you get aligned, you arrange yourself, you place yourself, you get in this quote unquote straight line, right? You get on, and I don't want to necessarily call alignment like the straight line, but you get on your path.
Mm-hmm.
The path that you're supposed to be on, the path you're supposed to be walking. And I believe when you're on this path and you're in total alignment and in agreement with yourself and with your surroundings and with your community, that you can be most effective,
Mm-hmm.
right? In every area. That's again being able to like going in and being able to perform and be impactful, because you are tapped in, you're in touch
Mm-hmm.
with yourself, you're in touch with what's on the inside of you, you're okay with it, you've come to grips with it. Like I've come to grips, you like some of us, you come to grips with certain things in your life. You come to grips, okay, I'm gonna have this one. I got this one tooth that's a little yellow. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
teeth get bright white when I go get them white, and I got this one that just can't get yellow. Oh, I could go ahead and get a porcelain veneer of it, or I not. It's like, are you just gonna come into grips with who you are? You're gonna come to grips with all your flaws and understand that all your flaws and everything that is so imperfect about you makes you that best version of you. It makes you the most effective when you embrace it, when you walk in it, when you talk in it. You can walk in a room and be like, with all my imperfection, I am the baddest thing that just walked into this room.
That's
and I'm
right.
not even talking about physicality. I'm not even talking about physical. I'm talking about, that you're in a space that God called your name into, and that he spoke your name into that room before you got there, and you coming in there because he sent you, and he coming in there because you got a purpose, and you're coming in there because it's time for you to get to be effective, to contribute to the kingdom, because it's not just about impacting, it's contributing to the kingdom. Contributing what your gift is.
Right.
That's what I love so much more about these type of open discussions, and just being in friendship, and not just in ministry with you guys, but being in friendship with you, is that we all have different gifts. We all are very different, but collectively,
powerful.
What's that fabulous song? I'm good all by myself, but I'm a force when we together. Is that Neo? That's Neo and Fabulous, right?
Whatever it is, I know it.
Yes.
Come on now.
Now listen, this is what I want to say too. You'll know when you're coming into alignment, because you start off on that road with 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, 10 people, 15 people. And as you begin to go into alignment, folks stop dropping off. Left and
Might be
right.
one person at the end.
Right. It might be one, and it might be you walking in by yourself. But you're walking in secure.
Yes.
Because you've already addressed all of those matters. And that's one thing that we cannot be afraid of, being by ourselves and walking into that room by yourself. Folk are going to drop off. Expect it. Look for it. Receive it. Acknowledge it. Learn from it. But keep walking. Keep getting there. Don't give up.
There's so many people are with you when you are out of alignment, when you are doing those things that feel good or that make, other people feel good. But when you start to get into alignment with what God's purpose is for you, not everybody could go on that journey. And so as the people fall off, you know that you're getting closer to where you're supposed to be, to the end zone, to the door that God has opened for you, not the door that you chose to go through, because it's different. But it's going through that lesson because it's painful, it's hard. Sometimes, the people that we think are the closest to us or the people who we think are going to be our ride or die, when we look around, we realize that we're no longer connected to them because the things that connected us might not be our priority anymore. They might not be what's important to us. And so understanding that there are going to be some things that you lose along the way. But what's more important what's more important is becoming who you're supposed to be in God's house, in God's kingdom. So that you can then do all that has been assigned to you. Because you can't start to do what God has assigned you until you understand your purpose and your point, until you start to walk in the light that He's given you. And so that's where we make our mistakes. Sometimes we stay in that darkness because it's comfortable, but we got to be able to walk outside of that darkness into the light that God has for us so that we can become who we're supposed to be.
Right. And my thing to that is stop letting people put you to be the pitcher when you're supposed to be batting.
Ooh. Say that again for people in the back of their head.
Say that again, Thania.
Say that one more time.
I say for the people in the balcony, stop letting people put you to be the pitcher when you're supposed to be the batter.
Mm-hmm.
Position.
Mm-hmm.
Position.
Oh, yes.
It's all about positioning.
Because let me tell you something. People know who you are before you do. People can see your gifts before you do. And some folk will do everything to sabotage you and put you in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes people sabotage you and they don't even understand what they're doing, right? Because people are so often used to being able to move in a particular way with you and treat you in a particular way and behave with you in a particular way. And when you start getting in alignment and you start tapping in and you start finding out who you are and what your worth is and what your value is and what you all about and what you was called to do, and when you walking in with confidence and you walking in knowing, then it's like they don't know how to perceive you, right? So then you become, oh, who she thinks she is, who he thinks he is, then you become the adversary for them. You become and I don't want to say adversary because that's a strong word, but you're not who they thought you were any longer. Now you make them uncomfortable because you're comfortable with yourself, right? Now you're making the people around you uncomfortable because I'm comfortable with myself now, man.
Because this is the thing. Sometimes that uncomfortability that people are really showing you that you think is uncomfortability is them being intimidated by you. That we gotta watch.
Right, because sometimes people can accept you when you're not doing as well. People can accept you when you're being mediocre. People can accept you when you're on par, right? When you're on par and you're regular and you move it ordinarily, you're acceptable because you make them comfortable, right? But when you start leveling up, and we're going to get to leveling up, we're going to get to that topic on a later date. But when you start leveling up, and the first part of leveling up is understanding your own power, right? When you start understanding your power and who you are and who you were meant to be and the things you were meant to do, and understand your talents and your giftings, and we all have different talents and giftings, so they're gonna come out differently. But then you no longer par, right? You no longer ordinary. God did add His extra to your ordinary. Now you're extraordinary, right? And now that makes people uncomfortable now. That makes people uncomfortable when you're no longer operating in mediocrity. You're moving in excellence. You raise the bar.
You raise the bar, and everybody don't want to raise the bar. Everybody does not want to reach, so they try to keep you subpar. They try to keep you down, and because when you raise the bar, other people got to reach it. And there are people that don't want to reach it, so they try to keep you beneath it. That's something
that part.
You have to look out for. That part.
Because it's understanding that it takes work, and some people don't want to do the work. They want to be where you are. They want to have what they think you have, but they don't want to put the work in. They don't want to go through the trials, the tribulations, the tests, all of those things that got you to that very place. And so when they look at you, they have whatever opinion they have. But if they knew your story, if they knew what you had been through to get to where you are, they might think twice about what that means for them. And so it's not for everybody. I always say that what's for me is for me and what's for you is for you. Because I really do believe that God has a purpose for all of us. And what he gives me is not necessarily your portion and vice versa. And so we have to be able to be comfortable with our brothers and sisters excelling beyond us. We have to be able to be comfortable knowing that, their space is not necessarily ours, and it's okay. What they bring to the table in strength might not be my strength, but that doesn't mean that we can't coexist and support each other. And that's what we don't do well at. When we look at people, if they're not in the circle or in the place that we think they should be, we start hating on them. We start wishing them some bad. We start, talking about who do they think they are, instead of being excited and being happy and being pleased that somebody is wherever they are, knowing that if we could just all join together and help each other, we could make everybody's situation better, but we don't do that. We don't have that collectivism.
Right, because we don't have those relationships anymore, and we talked about that. See, if I'm your friend, when you level up, I'm leveling up. We friends. Yes. I'm encouraging you to level up because I know when you going up, you pulling me up. We're coming up together. There's not that controversy between us where you're all the way up here and you're not looking back for me, and I can't applaud what you do because I feel that it's better than what I had to contribute. Everybody needs to know their place. Everybody needs to know who they are and be comfortable in that. Now, I want to ask if we have a brave soul that would come on and join us and talk a little bit about their issues with alignment and what alignment means to them. If somebody would join the video. Let's take one brave person who... I can't see the comments. I don't know who's on. But if you want
There's not a comment going right now since you asked that question. Let's see what happens.
But if you... So, Kaboshi, invited anyone who would like to join? Got any brave souls out there to come on? Let's talk. Weigh in. Weigh in on this discussion. Weigh
in on this discussion. Give some, lend to it. This is what we're all about. We're working this thing together. So in the meantime, we'll just continue, with the whole alignment thing. I think my thing is always me first, right? Starting with the nucleus, and then what does my stance and my alignment contribute to my family, and then what does it contribute to the community around?
Right.
And I think someone said it. You first, and then you can pour into the other places in your life.
Because
I think that was the hardest lesson for me to learn, is that it had to be me first. And in my mind, it was always about what you do for somebody else, how you help somebody else, without really coming to that understanding and realization that I can't help somebody else if I can't help myself.
Because if your cup
and so who do I bring to the table?
If your cup is not full, what do you have to pour?
Nothing.
If your cup is not full, what do you have extra to pour to someone else? You have nothing to pour into anything, right? And then also, so if your cup is full and you're pouring, where are you getting a replenishment to fill your cup back up again, right? So if we don't have that constant, again, the continuum, we're not constantly in process of staying in alignment and keeping in alignment, of being intentional about it, our cup is going to be empty.
It's like when you're taking a plane. They tell you put your mask on first before you try to help somebody else. It only makes sense. How you gonna help somebody if you passed out? You need to make sure you're good first so that you can help other people.
Right.
So that part right there.
And it's so, and oftentimes, it's so great because you'll get a cup and your cup will start overflowing. So then you have enough to give to so many people. When we get aligned, right, and we really tap in and we really stay in that continuum and stay intentionally pressing and pushing, he'll run our cup over. He'll prepare a table in the presence of our enemies and cause our cup to run over. And then when you have that running over, then guess what? You have so much more not to give to one people or one person or two people. You have enough to give to so many. And it's overflowing. So guess what? That means you're constantly being filled. You're constantly being filled. You're not worried about being depleted.
Empty. Right. All right. I think as we begin to like bring this down, we probably need to sit down and begin to write exactly where we see our lives and what we see for our lives. You know what I mean? The people that we see in our lives, and begin to just align yourself with what God is showing you for you.
Right.
That takes some work. I think that's where we should begin. You know what I mean? And don't apologize for what you see. A lot of times we apologize for what we see, and we shouldn't apologize for it. What we see is attainable. It just takes courage to break through that mental battle and all those things that were put in your mind that tells you that you cannot get to a certain place.
All the capabilities to do it.
Right.
That part.
It's that, like I said, the battlefield of the mind. Getting past the doubt and the fear and allowing others to chat in your ear and discourage you and to think and you know, because so often it's easy to believe the negative things. It's easy to believe that you don't have enough resources. It's easy to believe that, oh, it's never going to happen. It's easy to believe that you're not good enough. It's easier for us to just give in to those things and then to press and fight and push. Because staying in that continuum, staying in that process, it's work.
There's another part of this that I want to talk about too. Those of us who continue to live in our past experiences. It was a lesson. It was a lesson. It was a lesson.
For a reason.
You came through it. You came through it, and you made it through it. So you step on that lesson and that experience, and you learn and you step on it to bring you higher. Instead of just living in it and rehearsing it over and over and over again. And I did that for many years. And it wasn't until I broke free from the experience and used it to step on it and continue to go that I began to blossom.
We got us.
Yeah, we got my cousin.
Soul.
That's
we
my
have
cousin.
us a brave soul. Hi, Sister Venus.
Okay.
How you doing?
Hello. Okay, my lessons is in this story is that I'm always a giver. I'm always want to be part of. I'm always a helper, but I've learned that I had to align myself first, because at the end, when I'm so busy trying to help you, I end up with my back hurting. My feelings get hurt. End up where it's something being said that I didn't say it. It's more like a story. It's more like, okay, let me put it this way. You asked me for a favor, and I didn't put myself in there. I didn't say I was volunteering, but then you're going to say I volunteered when I didn't volunteer. Okay, so you're trying to line me in an area where I didn't ask to be aligned. Oh, no, you didn't. So I didn't go. No. So I let you go ahead and continue talking because you want to feel like you're the bigger person. But I don't have to align myself to get under that bridge. Let you go ahead and talk and feel like, okay, I said I was going to help you. No, I didn't. I learned that I had to put me first. Okay, we goes out and we feeds the homeless once a month. I learned that we're not going to call them homeless. We're going to call them less fortunate. And this is something that we do once a month. We goes out and feed at least 200. During the holidays, we feed 400. We don't cook for ourselves during Thanksgiving. We take care of the less fortunate. We do what we're supposed to do without anybody, that's what we are called non-profit organization. It comes from us as an individual, us as a soul, us as a body. Okay? But then, I have learned that I can't keep pushing. You can't, God said, it's time to sit down, my child. And I learned to sit down, my child. I don't have to be part of everything, you know. And I've learned that, when you want to make tamales, I don't have to. That's a lot of work. I don't have to go in. That's a lot of work. No. If I help you one time, I didn't say I'd come to help you the second time because I learned my lesson. I learned to align myself first. So once I got in my bed, my mother called about 3:40. She said, "Girl, where you at?" She thought I was coming over to bring her the newspaper, the little new flyers for her to go shopping. My mama 96 years old. And if I didn't move for her, I ain't moved for nobody else. I'm going to line myself in my bed.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's just
Sister
learning how to
Bless.
say no. I see
Listen,
there's a
Right.
comment in the chat
yeah,
that
Mr.
says I
Bliss
had
said
to get
that. I like
comfortable
that.
saying no and being
Yes,
okay
Mr.
with it.
Bliss. I
That
pinned
came
that.
from Bliss,
and that's
Yes.
and that's the
exactly,
reality.
Yes,
and
I
that's
pinned
exactly
that.
what Venus
That
is
part.
saying, Bliss. Bliss the Bliss. That's what she's
Yes.
saying. And I'll tell you something. That self-preservation is going to bring you a long way. People are going to begin to understand and fall off. But I believe that there's a greater purpose. So when you're sitting down, talk to the Lord and find out where your direction is. Because once you feeling like you said you were feeling, then he's pushing you into another space of alignment. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a place for that.
Yes.
There's a place that's waiting for you to give where you feel the equal give and take. If you're not feeling the equal
That's
give and
it.
take and the joy in the alignment, then it's abuse.
That part.
No, but see, there was an alignment where, the situation was more placed on your child needed to go get her hair done. Okay? You had a conversation with the individual. I didn't have a conversation with the individual. I didn't say I was going to take her for you, but the manipulation. Girl, you should come and get something to eat and maybe you could take. I look like I got foo-foo written across my forehead. She left already.
She said,
It seems like
left already.
it seems to me, honestly, it seems to me that that there's some people that need to, as when you begin to take this alignment, and this is coming from asking God where you're supposed to be in this time, you're going to see that people begin to fall away, and the respect for who you are
Yeah.
and what you do is going to become great. If you're not feeling that, then you're not in the right room. And yeah, that's what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Venus, for being brave and
Thank
coming on with us.
you.
Thank you for
Yes,
joining us.
guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Let me see
You're
if I can get
you're
off. I
fine.
don't know how to get
You're
off
fine. You
now.
can hang out with us till we close up. We are at 7:53, and we're gonna have to do a wrap up. Wish we could stay on longer, but we're gonna do time. Okay. Thank you for being on. Come back again next week. We're gonna have a great conversation. I love what was said. From the comments that I heard, bliss to bliss. Yes, you had to get to say no. No, that's one of the things that help us. That's one of the words that help us when we're aligning. Knowing how to say no. Knowing how to, as Sister Venus said, stay in your bed. Learning how to let people respect who you are as you're respecting yourself. I think the homework, I want to say homework, let's just do this week. Let's focus on aligning ourselves. Let's focus with getting in tune with where we're supposed to be this week. Let's sit down and do the homework and design what God is showing us who we are. Let's look at that person. Let's get that person into alignment this week. And so we can be good for those that we have to reach. How does that sound to you?
And I see a question that says, what time do we go live? We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. The homework, it's hard. The mental struggle is hard. I'm sure that there's a lot of people sitting and listening right now that are thinking, wow, I really need to get myself in alignment. You have the courage to do it. God gave you what you need inside to do it. All you have to do is take a step towards it.
Yes.
One step at a time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
So,
Amen.
yeah, you want to go ahead and close us out? It was beautiful being here with you all.
Yes.
We love y'all.
We love you. Thank you. Invite a friend next week. Come back because we're going to get into this transparent talk. We have to be transparent. We got to get into being comfortable with being ourselves. We have to get in to a place where we're comfortable with easily perceiving, easily communicating our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and our motives. And but most importantly, to ourselves, because we so often don't do it to ourselves. So let's get into this transparent talk. We're going to be here Transparent Tuesdays. Come back live here on Instagram. Next week, we're going to try to go on Facebook, but we'll definitely be here on Instagram live next week at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, Transparent Tuesday. And when you are in the midst of being transparent, and if you're going to be on Transparent on a Tuesday, you hashtag Transparent Tuesday so we can see you and we can repost you.
Somebody give us a closing comment that we can read before we go off. Somebody give us a closing comment. Thank you, Sister Venus, for being our surprise pop-up guest. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for being bold and risking it. Thank you.
Who's got the wrap-up comment?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
We got
no
wrap-up
comments.
No wrap-up comment. They're gonna hold it for next week. That's all right. Just join us. Make sure your wrap-up comment. Bring somebody next week and think about your wrap-up comment. I know we put you on the spot.
That's all right. We on spot.
That's what we do. Spot. We're here. It's not just about us. It's about us collectively on a whole, moving forward and just becoming our best selves.
Yes.
So thank you, everyone, once again for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday for Transparent Tuesdays with Kia and Thania. Sister Dawn, you coming back on with us next Tuesday?
I'll be here.
You'll be here next Tuesday. Wonderful.
Oh, yes, I will.
Bliss said, it's okay to lose people. Just be sure not to lose yourself. Come on. Bliss. That's what I'm talking about, Bliss.
That's the wrap up.
That's my girl right there. Yes.
Read it one more time, Kia. One more time.
You asked somebody to be bold. She said, Bliss said, it's okay to lose people. Just be sure not to lose yourself.
That's powerful. We need to post that.
And my thought. Is this a female on live? Is this a female? Oh, only? Is it? No, we're gonna let the guys come in. No, you guys can come in. Come on. We like to hear your perspective.
Yes,
we
do.
I like to get a man's point of view. So if you want to be bold, the guys, if you want to be bold enough to come in here and come, yes, please. We want your perspective. That's what it's all about. Because it's not just about being transparent as a sisterhood, but as a community,
right.
As a whole, for the culture, for the people around us. We want your point of view. So come on next week. I'm expecting you to come on and get in here and help us out. Come on live with us. Be bold next week.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your hearts. We're gonna prepare the after party in the future.
Right.
So we can go into another room and really get down with it.
Thank you. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Have a good night.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next
Tuesday. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Be blessed.